YouTube, what's happening? This is Nocturnal. Welcome to Nocturnal Thoughts. Look, man, I'm watching some videos, and as always, I want to put in my 2 cents. I watched a little bit of Goodfellow Sports, and oh man, who was that? I can never think of these guys, man. The guy I was watching, man, I checked back in to see who what's the name of his channel, but he asked a question about Shawn Porter, and it's just ironic because I had that same question. He wanted to know if anybody else thought that Shawn Porter was overtraining for the Errol Spence fight. Give me 2 seconds. Old school, man. What y'all know about that old school Blue Magic joint? Had to borrow some. So real quick, I decided to make me a little video. Bam. Then I'm gonna head off to the gym real fast. One of my subscribers, man, he asked about the waves. So, you know, I stay with the do-rag on. Just creature of habit, I guess. But the waves, they pretty much, you know, they always want to be there. I thought about, you know, doing something a little different. You let it grow for a while, and you get, you know, some curls going. But from that point, I was almost thinking about doing some locks, but I don't think that's going to be in the books. Anyways, is Shawn Porter overtraining? Because I thought the same thing myself. I watched the interview he did where he said he had been training already. And I know I just finished watching the Adrien Broner versus Shawn Porter fight. And, you know, they were talking about how they do a pre-training camp. Then they do a training camp, and then they do a post-training camp. So it's nothing new for Shawn Porter to come right out of a fight and go back into training. It's like, I guess in my mind, it's a way of not getting too out of shape, not getting too comfortable, not getting too lazy. But the interview he did look a little not to say premature. He did look a little small. But you know, looks can be deceiving. But he did look to be around the 150, 151 weight. And then the guy went ahead and proposed the idea of if he was overtraining, if he might have been lacking hydration to his brain. He was saying that during his interview, he seemed to be a little uncognizant or unable to enunciate and pronunciate. He was stuttering. So he said that seemed like it might have been a sign of dehydration to the brain. And, you know, I'm not going to go that far with the interview because, you know, everybody in front of a camera might, you know, you never know what the camera might do. Whereas your mind might be in some place and somebody's asking you questions. So you're not really laser focused in on answering that question. Everybody might stumble and mumble and double talk a little bit. So I'm not going to say that's a sign of dehydration, but he did look to be a little, not small. I'm not going to say small, but he did look like he might be leaving. By what he said in his response and how long he's been training, it seems like to me he has the potential of overtraining. It seems like to me I know he's definitely taking this fight very serious. Oh, give me 2 seconds. I'm back. He's definitely taking this fight serious, which he has no choice. But I just think a professional, like somebody that's been fighting as long as him, and he has the same team, you know, the father-son team, I would just be surprised if he would make a rookie mistake like overtraining. But I do see where he might have one too many days of training, because he's taking this fight and understanding that Errol Spence basically brings so much to the table that, you know, you're going to have to be at your absolute best. And the thing is, when you overtrain, it's not that, it's hard to gauge that, because you want to peak. You want to peak on the fight day. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many different methods. There's so many different methods to training, and what works for you and what works for, and then you age, and what works for one fight might not work perfectly for the next fight. Or when you get a little older, what might have worked for you in the past might not work for you in this present. Your mental might be a little different because you're fighting someone different. So every time you train, you might have to do something just a little bit different. You know what I mean? So it seems like there is a potential that he's looking at Errol Spence as an insurmountable task, and he might put himself in danger of overtraining. Right? Because a lot of people give like Errol Spence a lot of flack for being a little too big, blowing up too much. And so far his routine has been working for him, but I know it was a little close with the Mikey Garcia fight. To me, he came in the Mikey Garcia fight, he could have been in. He even said it himself. He was at 70%. He didn't even do some of the core fundamental work that he knows that he normally needs to do. You know, like I said before, man, Errol Spence is usually rocking a 10-pack, and that takes a lot of commitment. I mean, it's genetics. It's genetics involved, and that's his body type. But to get that 10-pack on point the way he has it, you know, you gotta put in some serious core work. And he said that he didn't even train his core work for Mikey Garcia fight. So with the Shawn Porter fight, you know, I think that Errol Spence, all he has to do is come in optimal. All he has to do is come in, you know, and peak out. If he comes in and peaks, Shawn Porter peak versus Errol Spence peak, it's just too far a gap. I watched, you know, Goodfellas Sports, and he was saying, and I apologize, man, I can't remember the other guy's channel that I was watching. New to the channel too. It's been a while since I watched him, but you know, he was saying, what if Shawn Porter wins? And like, what if Shawn Porter wins? What if Shawn Porter wins? You know, so many of these, you know, new media guys are going to have to eat so much crow, and there's going to be all these excuses. And what if there's a headbutt and Shawn is up on the cards, or you know, what if Errol Spence does this and that? There's all of these different hypothetics. And hypothetically speaking, yes, in boxing, anything can happen outside the ring. You know, all the way up until you get inside the ring, anything can be an outside influence on the fight. So when I'm making a prediction or when I'm looking at a fight, you know, I'm not looking at all these crazy hypotheticals like what if somebody chokes on the chicken bone right before the fight, and then, you know, they have a tragic accident, like they get hit by a car on the way to the fight. I mean, of course, all these, you know, random things can happen in life. But I'm talking about when I look at a prediction of a fight, I have to, first of all, hypothetically assume that both fighters are going to come in at their best and going to come in at the peak. So I have to look at Shawn Porter at his peak and at his best performance he can bring to the table. And I also have to look at Errol Spence with his best performance that he can bring to the table. And I'm saying that as long as both of those guys have a healthy camp, they both make weight, they both come in 100%, as close to 100% as possible, I don't see Shawn Porter winning against Errol Spence. A freak headbutt accident, why would I look at a fight like that? That's not entertaining to me. I don't want to see I don't want to see a controversial fight. I don't want to see a headbutt and someone get cut open with a headbutt and that determines the outcome of the fight. Yes, that's always a possibility and it's a potential, but looking at Shawn Porter coming in with a headbutt against a, you know, tall guy like Errol Spence who knows how to keep his distance, I think the odds are unlikely. And I think more likely than Shawn Porter coming in and getting a headbutt on Errol Spence is Shawn Porter coming in with his hands low, with his head out, Holyfield style, and then catching a stiff jab on top of that head. You know, Shawn Porter kind of has this little thing where he always fake this way and come in that way. And it's like an old school move. It's one of those moves you do when you're a little kid. It's like, it's a played out move. It works for him because of his style, but I just don't see that style working against an Errol Spence, because Errol Spence is just too great at keeping his distance using his jab, and he's a southpaw. So I see Shawn Porter, and sometimes he do it 3 times. And when I see him do that, it just makes me feel like he's an old man. You know, that's something that I would do against my son. Try to use those old moves on him, like like if I was on a court with my son trying to do an old school crossover, it's just not going to work, because, you know, even though it's an old classic move, Shawn Porter is so telegraphed when he does it. It's not confusing. I was watching the Adrien Broner fight, and Adrien Broner didn't do well with that herky-jerky style that Shawn Porter does a You know, it worked with Adrien Broner, but not, it wasn't as effective as it would have been if not Adrien Broner wasn't Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner just loses his fights because of different things he doesn't do, not things that his opponent does. It's different things that he doesn't do. Adrien Broner just, he stalls, he freezes, he poses, he has mental lapses. He's more considerate and concerned about how he looks. The thing about Shawn Porter, Shawn doesn't care how he looks. He wants to look dirty. So he's not looking. Every time Adrien Broner looks uncomfortable, gets hit, or gets embarrassed, he's looking to the crowd, trying to show how cool he looks, trying to show his swag off, trying to say, I ain't getting touched. He's always trying to project himself. Like, he tries to keep the same energy that he has pre-fight that he has during the fight. And the thing is, that's not Errol Spence. Errol Spence is not one of those guys that's, I'm not going to act like I just know his psyche, because I don't know his psyche. I have to base my opinion off of what I see, based off of what he shows during his fights. And during Errol Spence's fights, he just does not seem like the type of person that allows all of his surroundings to distort him from his focus. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been in Mikey Garcia fight, Kell Brook fight. Most of the time, you getting booed. He was getting booed during the weigh-ins. He's getting booed at the fight. He goes to somebody else's backyard, and the whole crowd is against you. That's like Rocky Balboa winning over the Russians when he fought Ivan Drago, and by the end of the fight, all the Russians were roaring out Rocky's name. When you can go somewhere else where everybody is against you, and then turn them into, you can dazzle them and turn them into being on your side, that shows that you don't get penetrated as much by the boos and the, you know, all the negative energy. You have the ability to turn it, to flip it. You have the ability to block it out and then stick to your focus and overcome, to where now you have the same people that 1 round or 12 rounds ago were against you. By the end of the fight, now they're your fans. And I also seen people were saying like Shawn Porter has nothing to lose in this fight. Like, he's going to go in there from the first round. He's just going to go in there and go crazy. He has to take those first rounds. Based off what I just watched with the Adrien Broner fight, he took off the first 2 rounds. He came in slow. You know what I'm saying? So for he's to come in and just start head rushing the first round, he comes in a head rush against Errol Spence. That's a flaw that Keith Thurman just did that with Pac-Man. Came out in the first round with the wrong plan. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see Shawn Porter being able to just jump out of the gate in the first 2-3 rounds, just take those rounds and throw, you know, throw it to the wind, balls to the walls, and just go at it 100%. First of all, I don't think that's his style. Second of all, I don't think even if he attempted it, that it would be successful. You know what I'm saying? So when you say Shawn Porter has nothing to lose, I disagree. He has 2 belts to lose. He basically has his whole career has led up to this moment. This is really they say that this is the biggest fight of Errol Spence's life. This is the biggest fight of Shawn Porter's life. Really, he has everything to lose. And to be honest with you, I just think he wants to lose it in a way that he can still hold his head up. I don't think he know. I think he know he's going to have the fight of where most likely he's not going to win. And I think he's training and he's focused in a way that he wants to fight the fight of his life. Win, lose, or draw. But I think most likely he knows that he's going to lose this fight. But he's going to lose it in a way that he still wins. With the way his fans are, with the way the media projects it, when everybody's going to say Shawn Porter lost. He lost with style. He lost with dignity. He lost fighting. He went out on the sword. You know, he showed heart. He showed dog. He was up against a big young Errol Spence, and he went out in a close fight. All those things. That's what he wanted. That's what he wants to walk away with. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, not that he's fighting to lose, but he knows that it's this effort that he has to put into it, that as long as he does that, I think he's going to be able to hold his head up. You know, his dad is still going to love him. He knows that his diehard fan base and his diehard fans and his diehard people that are around him that care about him, they're going to still care about him as long as he doesn't, you know, tuck his tail and quit and you know, do everything against his character. You see, as long as Errol Spence doesn't break his character, then Shawn Porter's going to be able to come out. What is you doing? Going to be able to come out on top. Anyways, I don't like to drag out my videos too long, but just to cap it off, it's a possibility it's a possibility that Shawn Porter might overtrain. He does look a little small. We won't know until the weigh-in. I don't think he's going to come out and take the first 2 or 3 rounds. I don't think his style is going to be too effective. And I don't think that the pressure, I think that's what Goodfellow Sports was leading to, is that the pressure might get to Errol Spence. I don't see that happening. I don't think Errol Spence is the type of person that folds under pressure. There's just two ways, there's multiple ways people handle pressure, but there's, you know, for the most part, you look at two different people. Some people fold and collapse under pressure, and then some people are prosperous and are more diamond, you know, they say pressure makes diamonds. Some people get crushed into dust, and then some people use that to shape themselves into diamonds. And Errol Spence, to me, from up until now, shows me that when he has pressure, it makes him perform better. And not just in the ring, but when the crowd's booing him, when the media's, when you got all the legendary greats, all the old school legendary great boxers saying negative things about you. Like, I don't think he's that great. I think he's too one-dimensional. He doesn't know how to box. He's not technical. We have, you know, all the classic boxers kind of taking jabs at you. When you got the boxing media in some kind of a way, you know, taking jabs at you. When you got YouTube taking jab at you. When you got crowd fans, you go to Mikey Garcia fight and you got all the Mexicans and his fans booing you. You go to Kell Brook, you know, you go to his backyard and you got all those guys just booing you and everything like that, and you still come out in the victorious fashion the way you did against Kell Brook and Mikey Garcia. To me, that shows me that you know how to handle pressure. Let alone you're thinking about actually getting inside the fight, fighting against a Kell Brook who's big and strong, fighting against a Mikey Garcia who was undefeated, who was talking crazy about, you know, I see weaknesses and this, that, and the third, and you overcome those things mentally, then you overcome those things physically. I don't see Shawn Porter fight bringing too much more pressure to the table than Mikey Garcia or Kell Brook fight. And even if it did, I think if it did bring more pressure to Errol Spence is just the type of person that is going to use that pressure. And it's like the Black Panther suit. The more it absorbs, then the more powerful it becomes when it decides to project that power back out. You know, it doesn't take damage and break down. It takes damage and then it reverts it and uses that energy to become its own energy source. So that's all I'm gonna say for now. You know, good luck to both fighters. Hopefully they both come out healthy. They come out with their intact, their cognizance intact. But what I think I'm going to see is Shawn Porter putting his best foot forward and Errol Spence knocking him down and beating him down, outboxing him, and eventually I think Shawn Porter is going to just understand he's out of his league, and he might go kamikaze towards the 4th or the 6th round. He might go kamikaze and just go all in on Errol Spence. And once he does that, the whole thing of kamikaze is a self-destruction mode. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, at the end of the kamikaze, you know it's the end of you. So most likely, if he does go into a kamikaze style, then he's basically sacrificing himself for the sake of, there's no other way I can beat this guy besides, like my guy, whoever I was watching was saying he's willing to die in the fight. I don't think that Shawn Porter is willing to die in this fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's willing to die into the fight. I mean, Shawn Porter is already kind of setting himself up for different avenues outside of the boxing ring and doing the commentating thing. Hold on 2 seconds. My dog is acting crazy. What are you doing? Go sit down. It's like if Shawn Porter was just strictly this boxer that was ready to die in the ring, I don't think he would be as polished as he is as a commentator and as a sports analyst and all those things. And too clean and shiny. And I think he's kind of put himself in a position where he got 1 foot out of the ring and 1 foot in the ring. So I don't think you're ready to die in the ring when you already have that exit strategy plan. Like my man Nino Brown, I'm going to watch this video. I haven't watched it yet, but he said when you enter into a situation, already have your exit strategy planned out too. And it just looks like to me Shawn Porter already has an exit strategy out of the boxing game. And when you fight against a guy like Errol Spence, who's on the come up, he's on a mission. You know what I'm saying? His exit strategy is a long way away. Shawn Porter's exit strategy is pretty much has come to its arrival. So I don't think he's going to die in the ring. I don't think he's willing to die in the ring. I think he's willing to sacrifice so much. He's willing to sacrifice so much in the ring. And once it gets to that point, I think either his father most likely is going to save him, because you can just see all that love. You can see all that love that he has for his son. He said, you know, he had his son when he was young. They were more like brothers. Before every single fight, there are rituals to touch their foreheads and kind of get into a zone. I just feel like when his father sees him taking the punishment, his father's going to want to save his son. And that's what's going to happen. His father's going to throw the towel in. His father's going to save him from getting brain damaged and get him from breaking his body down and being not able to speak as well, because his career is going to be speaking, talking about the game, talking about the fight game, talking about different fighters and styles and things like that. So I think he already has that preset, and this fight is going to go ahead and retire him. I don't see Shawn Porter doing anything after this fight besides being more like how Shane Mosley, his career to me is similar to what Shane Mosley's career turned out to be. Once Shane Mosley realized he was only going to be so great and he wasn't going to be as great as he thought he would be when he started his career, Shane Mosley had an exit strategy. Shawn Porter might come back later on and fight, you know, somebody that he can, you know, have his style effective against, like kind of how who was that guy Shane Mosley fought when they both kind of got older? They had a little media stunt where dude slapped his wife on the butt. Who was that guy? The guy that would dye his hair, the guy that would smoke cigarettes after every fight. That guy. You know, Shane Mosley fought that guy. It was like two older guys just coming to fight just because they still boxers and they want to get the paycheck. I see Shawn Porter being able to do that, coming back after, you know, taking a year off, come back and just fight like little tune-up fights. But his career is not going to be going up anymore. Errol Spence is still going up. He's still on a mission. You know what I'm saying? He's not looking past Shawn Porter, but he is going to be looking how to go straight through him, bulldoze him, steamroll him, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's just what's going to happen. Unless you get some hypothetical, crazy, freak accident, choking on a chicken bone, or food poisoning at Papados or something like that. Other than that, I don't see anything that's going to change the outcome of this fight. Errol Spence wins. Shawn Porter wins with his loss. Nocturnal Thoughts. Hey, I feel I'm gonna look up your name too, my guy. You asking me about the waves. I still keep them brushed. I keep them laid down. You notice I always keep a do-rag on, because it's just part of the game, man. You never can take this. If you want the 360s, you pretty much is married to the do-rags for life. And yeah, we still beard, we still boxing, we still going to the gym. Still more to come. I appreciate y'all time, all my new subscribers. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. I salute you. I'm out. Peace.